Here's Paul Catalina and Craig Smoak.
Smokey's off today. He did stop by to feed Armstrong, and that, I appreciate that because, I mean, Armstrong gets really irritable when he is not fed in 2 to 3 hour increments. It's kind of like having like a bear, like a panda bear that we're keeping.
Trash panda.
Hey, you know, when I signed on, it was part of my contract. It was said that I would be fed every 2 hours.
Yeah, whenever people super chat, it goes directly to Armstrong's food budget.
Yeah. I'm wondering if we're going to have eventually we're just going to have like a guy in khakis shorts and boots with like a meat hook that just like hands it in and sees what happens.
Armstrong, do you want a raise or a guy with a meat hook? Meat hook.
Meat hook, yeah. Not often you get that option.
Yeah, I'd like that'd be funny. Just be like, oh, this is Carl. He's the meat hook guy. He majored in zoology and couldn't get a job at the zoo, so we've had him here. He's feeding Armstrong like he's in a bear cage. Or maybe get the guy over. There's a guy at Baylor that's got to feed those bears, right?
I hope somebody's doing that.
Yeah, I mean, so that's what he does.
Lady and Joy.
Yeah.
I do want to mention, speaking of Baylor, they're on the practice fields finally, and it's the first fall camp practice. And Brian Etheridge from Sikkim 365 is over there along with Colt Barber and a few other folks. And Brian just posted a picture of them warming up. And, man, I know this routine. You go there for that open media session. You get to watch them stretch for 15 minutes. But you do get some pictures on occasion and all that. And Sqwirl Williams is padded up.
That's big news for Baylor.
After nearly single-handedly defeating Iowa State last year until he got injured in that Iowa State game. Nice job there, Armstrong, getting that up. But, yeah, number 20, Craig Williams, Sqwirl. There he is. You can see the knee brace. And, you know, that could be just for extra protection or what have you. But good sign that he's, you know, out there and full. Looks like he's pretty much a full go. He's got the same gear on as everybody else. And, you know, I've been very curious about his status because when I asked Aranda about him a while back, I noticed one thing about Aranda. Don't expect injury news from him for the most part. He's not going to offer up much in terms of injuries, even if you're, like, just looking for a slight update.
He might just tell you, no, he's not going to play.
Yeah, like he just doesn't really answer it. But I have been curious about Sqwirl Williams and sort of where he is just in terms of his recovery process, because in the spring he was out there he was taking part but not really taking part. He was, you know, kind of one of the guys with the injury jersey on who was doing, you know, what he could do, a lot of rehab to the side and that kind of thing. But, you know, if he's a full go and he's fully practicing and doing all that, then, man, that would be absolutely huge for this football team. So not trying to get ahead of myself, but I'm very curious to eventually hear, hopefully sooner rather than later, what the kind of health update and timeline is of Sqwirl Williams, because he's just a different back than anyone else that they have. And I know Iowa State fans, I mean, Iowa State won that football game last year, but they definitely have to remember who Sqwirl Williams is, because he came in and gave them a real scare last season.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, a change of pace from what Abram Smith's going to be, who I actually think is going to do really well in that wide zone offense that they're going to run. And Quaylen Jones and all the other guys that they have, Treston Ebner. Like, so, I mean, he's different. Like, they have Smith, Ebner, and Williams are going to be your top 3 running backs, and all of them provide different things.
Yeah, I mean, if Williams can go, like, that's the thing. Is like, can he play right now? Can he play after the first month? Can he? I mean, when's he ready? Like, that's what I'm saying. Is I don't know when he's supposed to be ready, but he's definitely taking part today. So, again, just really curious to get an answer on that, because if you can now factor him in, then yeah, you have 3 entirely different running backs that can do 3 different things for you. Abram Smith is going to be their north to south runner, their one cut and go, their physical, you know, guy to grind out the yardage. Treston Ebner is going to be their Swiss Army knife that I feel will probably have more receiving yards, even though he'll feature as a running back, than he will actually have rushing yards. You know, just based off what we saw last year, and the way they were eventually able to. I mean, it's a whole new offensive staff, so I think they're going to have a lot of tricks up their sleeve when it comes to Treston Ebner. But I would definitely expect him to probably have more receiving than rushing yards. And then Sqwirl Williams, I mean, he's a totally different type of runner than either one of those guys. And I don't really know how he factors in with the wide zone and all of that, but with his speed, his ability to get upfield, that would be a nice another weapon to have. And quite frankly, behind Ebner and behind Abram Smith. And Abram Smith, they only found really the last week of spring football. He was playing linebacker up until that point. He was a running back in high school at Abilene, but he had been at linebacker at Baylor until he emerged. You know, where is Sqwirl Williams in his, kind of in the view of the offense? Where is Jonah White? Where are some of these other guys? Because I haven't heard much about them, and I'm interested to hear more. But, yeah, if you got Sqwirl, Ebner, and Abram, then that's a really great starting point.
Yeah, let's rock out a couple texts here before we go to RJ